Hello viewers and welcome back. And in this video, I shall try to give you an insight, a very little insight on an autobiography called The Outcast. So this video will be just a drop in the ocean. That's right. I request you to kindly go through the text. You have to read line by line. You have to do your own research. You have to have your own perspective, opinion, and your own remark. Okay. So whatever I will say here, that will be my own remark, my own perspective that I have collected from different sources. So without further delay, let's begin it. So the Outcast, it was originally written in Marathi, and the Marathi title was Akarmasi, if I'm not wrong. So it is written by an Indian Marathi language writer, Sharankumar Limbal, and he is an author, a poet, and a literary critic. He has penned or he has composed more than 40 books, but he is best known for his autobiography that we are reading now, Akarmasi. So Akarmasi, it is translated in several other Indian languages and in English too. And the English translation, it was published by the Oxford University Press with the title The Outcast. So from the title itself, you might have got to know what this autobiography will indicate or what kind of thing it will explain. And his critical work towards an aesthetics of Dalit literature that was published in 2004, it has been considered amongst the most important works on Dalit literature. So through this work, we will get to know the pain of Dalit people, Dalit community. Okay, so now let's dive into the brief summary of this text. I have already told you that it is written by Sharankumar Limbal, and through this autobiography, the writer has tried to portray the anguish and ridiculous experiences of his life as a Dalit. So he was born Dalit, and being a Dalit in India, that is a very difficult life for you. Okay, so that difficult life he has tried to portray here, and it is a very poignant and heartbreaking scenes or heartbreaking stories that we will know from him or through this book. And The Outcast, it also captures the impacts of violence and discrimination against Dalit community. And in the novel, the author is haunted by the crisis of identity. And apart from that, this autobiographical novel, it also displays the dark side of India in which the Dalits are oppressed, they are subjugated, and they are tortured. And he has also used the metaphor, idioms, and imagery to explore his inner grief and quest for identity, being a Dalit. Apart from that, he has also faced discrimination at the school level when he was just a student. Besides, the pupils from high caste like Brahmin and Wani sat in his class, and the Mahar boys sat at the entrance of the door. And the school teacher called him, means our writer, as the son of a witch. Okay? So that kind of very sensitive and very deplorable thing we will learn about his life. At the college level, when he was in the college, he became more conscious about his caste, and he gained more consciousness toward the injustice against his community. He had also friends who were also Dalit, and the pain of poverty crushed all of them. Moreover, all boys in the hostel, they were Dalits, and it was like a Jew for them because they were not treated respectfully by the other persons like Brahmin. And he has depicted that they stopped saying Namaskar and they rather started saying Jai Bhim. Then he followed the guidance of B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar is the best example in front of many Dalits in India. He was a role model for them because, as we all know, he is the one of the pioneering figures in our Indian constitution. He was also a law minister, and he had also done PhDs in 5 subjects. Okay, so he has done 5 times PhD. So that was a remarkable feat for him, and not for him, but for the our Indian people too. And Dr. Ambedkar's thought and philosophy of life brought a revolutionary change in the life of Dalit society. And he gave those important political rights and social liberty to Dalits. But till today, members of lower caste face the caste discrimination and subjugation. And untouchables are very poorly compensated for their labor and thus forced to live a pressurized life. So Dalits are also called untouchables. Okay, but due to our constitution, their untouchability, the practice of untouchability has been abolished. And if someone treats you in an untouchable way, then you can take the help of legal system or constitution, and that man or that person will be punished. So it was introduced by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. They live very poorly, and clothes were unclean, houses were dirty and unhealthy, and poverty made them bondage and dependent on a strong man of the villages. The Outcast was considered as one of the important works which exposes discrimination against the Dalit community. And as it was an autobiographical story, Limbale has drawn many painful incidents from his own life. He was an illegitimate son born to an untouchable outcast mother and upper caste father. And he faced several discriminations. And as an untouchable, in a different phases of life, he has experienced many injustice, cruelty. And this autobiography, The Outcast, it also reflects the conditions or the plight or the circumstances of a particular oppressed class, the Mahar community. Actually, Dalit now they are called as Dalit or schedule caste maybe, I'm not sure. So they are one of the parts. They are an integral part of Hindu religion. So actually, they all are from one religion, but despite that, they have to suffer this kind of discrimination. So that is unfortunate, and this kind of thing must be stopped, right? But nowadays it has reduced, right? And we should extirpate it. We should extirpate it. Means we should eradicate it. Okay, our new generation must relinquish this kind of thinking concept, okay, or practices. And as a member of Mahar community, he faced much discriminations during his time at school. And through this book, he has tried to portray his experience at a school picnic when he was in the third standard. And in this book, we will also get to know how his caste politics, how he has seen caste politics in different ways and in different means. The upper caste students, they were always protected by their teachers, and they were already informed about their picnic. Therefore, all the upper caste students came with preparations. And at the same time, the outcast students were not informed before. Therefore, again, they had to back home to bring their tiffin. So this kind of operation they had to suffer. And another discrimination took place in the form of a game politics. They were separate games assigned for upper caste and outcast students. The upper caste Wani and Brahmin boys played kabaddi, but being a member of the Mahar community, they could play simple games like touch and go, not kabaddi. Because in the game of kabaddi, you have to catch someone, you have to touch and pull, and you have to throw someone, right? And another discrimination can be seen in the form of food politics also in the autobiography. After the games, they were asked to sit separately under the different trees. And the outcast students or the untouchable students, they did not have good food to eat. They had brought dried bhakari and chutney and bombil fish curry. And at the same time, the upper caste students brought varieties of fried and tasty food. And at the end of the lunch, teachers asked the upper caste boys and girls to collect the leftovers on a paper and give it to them. Okay. And on the next day of the picnic, the teacher asked both third and seventh standard students to write an essay about their picnic. Then senior boys and girls were swiftly started to write the essay. But Limbale or Limbale, I'm not sure. Limbale maybe, as a third year student, couldn't start writing as other students. When the teacher noticed him, he shouted, "You son of a bitch, come on, start writing. You like eating an ox, don't you?" He didn't know how to write and what to write. But he started to remember the incidences that happened the day one by one. So this kind of thing they have to suffer. Here the teacher abused him without giving any consideration as a third standard student. It shows the mentality of the upper class, those who see everything in the eyes of the caste system. They never leave even the children. So that is very despicable, right? And in the Outcast, in the autobiography, Outcast, Sharankumar Limbal has also portrayed his experience during the time of a school picnic. The upper caste students, they were informed before by the teachers about the picnic, therefore they came with all the preparations. But the outcast Mahar boys and girls were not informed before, so they came without any preparations. That day was a strange experience for them because they haven't had any picnic so far. They rushed to the home and came back with tiffin. After they returned from home, joined a group of boys and girls who were getting ready to start their journey. So this I have already mentioned. And on the way, they have seen a group of women who were gathering dung cakes, maybe cow dung. Then they saw Haria, who was grazing cattle along the bank of the river. He was also a student of the same school, but his father put him on a farm run by Girmalaya because of poverty. His family was a poor one. His mother didn't even have proper clothes and they could not eat properly. But after Haria had joined the job, he was not a burden to his family, and now all the members of his family could have sufficient food and clothes. Okay, here Haria had to sacrifice his education for the sake of his family. So now you can see their plight, the plight of Dalit, due to lack of money, due to education, due to lack of mentorship. They had to sacrifice their education, right? So if there is no education, then how they will grow, how they will develop. Okay. And when they reached their destination place, boys and girls started to play different games. The caste girls played Fugari. I'm not sure how it pronounces, maybe Fugari. The teacher's cards game, here the author did not join with them. He just watched them from the distance. And the upper caste Wani and Brahman boys played kabaddi, but Mahar students cannot join with them because outcast students can play on the simple games like touch and go. Malaya, Amriya, and Persia all belong to outcast Mahar community. These two I have already briefly talked at the beginning of this video. And after the game was over, they were asked to sit and have lunch. The boys and girls from the upper caste were asked to sit in a circle under a banyan tree with their teachers. The Mahar boys and girls, they were asked to sit under another tree. So here you can see the discrimination done by the teacher themselves. So it is a very sad thing to see. Here the tree that was allotted for the outcast students was a bare one. The caste students, means the Brahmins or the upper class, they were sharing food with the teachers. Then some questions came to the writer's mind. Dare I offer my chutney and bakeries to my teacher? Would he eat? So as our writer was in his childhood time, so he didn't know what this kind of thing was. So he, as a child, he had tried to offer some kind of bakery or chutney, and he thought, would he eat them? The upper caste students brought delicious dishes for their lunch. Their mother had given them fried food, but students brought pieces of dried bhakris, chutney, and pombil fish curry, which were hardly enough to satisfy their hunger. So I'm not sure whether he had offered the chutney and bhakris to the teacher, as I have not thoroughly gone through the book, so I request you to go through the text. Okay, and the teacher asked upper caste students to collect leftover onto a piece of paper and give it to them. The writer and Parsias carried the bundle, and others followed them. All upper caste students were making fun of them, but their attention was only on the bundle. They had never tasted such delicious food so far. Then the next day, the teacher had asked to write an essay about the picnic. All the boys and girls from the 7th standard started to write very swiftly, but Limbale, as a third standard student, couldn't start the essay. When the teacher noticed him, he shouted at him by saying that, "You son of a bitch, come on, start writing. You like eating an ox, don't you?" So this thing I have already told you. You like eating an ox, don't you? But he didn't know how to start and what to write as a 3rd standard student. So as he was so small, he couldn't write, right? So he couldn't organize his thought. But he started to recall all the incidents that happened on the day, one by one. And what happened? Then okay, that's it. That's it for this video, and I hope you have understood something, and you will try to read the book and have your own perspective, opinion. You must critique, you must make your own opinion. Thank you so much. Bye bye.